Jim, how you doing?
Great, good to see you.
Good seeing you. Well, welcome in here to News Junkies. I'm visiting with Pastor Jim Duran, and he is the president of a transitional living center in the city of Ventura called the City Center. Jim, welcome in here.
Thank you so much. It's so great to have you here, Bill.
Oh, I tell you what, this is an exciting facility.
It's very exciting. We are right in the middle of construction. There's 8 rooms here that we're trying to get done within the next 8 weeks, and we have 3 more rooms that haven't even been touched yet. But the amount of people and support that we have coming on property has just been amazing.
Well, I tell you what, the last time you and I had talked, you were about ready to participate in the annual Oxnard Salsa Festival, and you actually walked away the big winner with the People's Choice Award.
That's right. We had an amazing team, first of all, and we had amazing support in the community. We ended up raising $33,500, which will be probably enough money to complete the last 11 rooms that need to be completed here on property.
That's amazing that you would have almost down to the dollar the amount of money needed to complete this project. That's really an ongoing part of what you've been doing for some time now.
That's correct. It was a miracle. There's no doubt about that. To raise that kind of money was amazing. And to think that we'll be able to complete the project and be able to move in at least 11 more families over the next maybe 2 to 3 months is just phenomenal.
Can you tell us a little bit about this facility? It looks to me like it's been renovated from maybe an old hotel motel type of scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. The City Center was a motel here in Ventura, and I remember growing up. I was born in 1960, and in my early 20s, I was here working in the restaurant industry. And this was a motel where you would go for prostitution, you would go for drug dealing. There were arrests being made here all the time. It was just the place you didn't want to be unless you were involved in drugs and dealing and all those things. There was actually a murder on property at one time. When Mike Tracy was police chief, he said this was the den of iniquity. This was a place where they didn't want to come, but they used to have to come all the time because of all the terrible things that were taking place. And back around 2008, some property owners purchased this property, and it was right around the time that the economy went downward. And they were wondering, what can we do with this? And a group of pastors got together and said, would you consider making this a transitional living facility? And the owner said, well, we have nothing to lose. And they were all believers, and they said, I think this is something that we could do. And so they invested their time, they invested their finances, and they partnered along with these churches to open up a transitional living facility so homeless children and their parents could get off the streets. Well, in about 2013, the ministry that was on site, which was the former Kingdom Center, were having a little bit of financial difficulties, and with 2 facilities open, they decided to go ahead and give notice here and move to Oxnard and kind of support that one full time. Well, we new board of directors formed, and we stepped in and took the ministry over and took over the transitional living, and we allowed those 11 people that were living on site to continue living here, and we were getting it all up and running. And now we have about 17 families that live on site right now. We've graduated. About 15 families have moved off campus, and they're doing well right now. And we're just thrilled to see what the future holds for us.
Now, you talked about Mike Tracy, the former chief of police here in the city of Ventura, saying that this was the den of iniquity. There seems to me to be a biblical passage that talks about what Satan intended for evil, God took and made some lemonade out of that.
That's right. And isn't it great? Because in Romans 8:28, it says that God causes all things to work together for good. And I think for those who love him and are called to his purpose. And I thought, man, what an amazing story. What an amazing story of transformation and redemption, where God took this property and just made it into something for his glory. And that's what's happening here right now.
Tell us a little bit about the program itself. You've talked about how people have graduated out of the program. How long is the program, and what are they exposed to during that tenure that they're here at the City Center?
Well, Bill, that's a great question. We're looking, number one, for families, children that are homeless, and then their parents to come on site. When they get accepted, they need to be sober for about 6 months. We want to make sure that they're on the right track, that they're ready for a program, because one of the things that you must do is, if you don't have a job, you must look for work. And if you'd like to go to school, we're going to help you and encourage you to go to school, but it is a working program. So one of the things we're going to do is partner alongside of you to help you find a job. The other thing is we're going to work with you on your finances. So 30% of your income goes to rent. And if that's a dollar is all you make, well, then only 30% goes to rent. And 20% goes into a savings. So as you continue to work more and earn more money, your savings account starts to build up. So when you graduate, you'll have a savings account to move forward. The other thing you're exposed to here is a licensed marriage and family therapist. We have a team of therapists, a team. Diana Whiteman has developed a team with Deborah Pastor, and they have some interns that they're working with to help counsel and guide the women and men that are in this program, to help them deal with past issues and things that maybe they're struggling with. We also have a mentor program. So we have a group of mentors, and Rick and Sherry Carney are our mentor coordinators, and they pull people in to walk alongside the residents, to be their friend and to listen to their concerns and to take them out to lunch and go to church with them and just be someone that they could talk to. And the mentorship program doesn't end when they graduate. It becomes a lifelong friendship for them. They also have financial counseling, and so they're working on their budget all the time. They have addiction seminars. If that is their issue, they'll have addiction seminars that they can participate in and learn more about. Parenting classes. The Ventura Family YMCA, they come in and they teach the parents how to play with their children. Seroptimus Club of Ventura is coming in to teach our men and women how to get a job, how to put a resume together. So they're getting the tools that they need in order to be successful. The program is designed to be a year long. Our hopes is that in 1 year you will have a full-time job, you will have transportation, a savings account, and be able to be self-sufficient. Now, if that doesn't happen in a year, we're going to work with you up to 2 years to make sure it happens. But what we found out, if you're working the program within a year to a year and a half, you're on your way.
Seems to me there's also another biblical concept that comes into play, and that is, if you give an individual a fish, they'll have a great meal. But if you teach them how to fish, boy, they'll be supplied for a lifetime.
That's absolutely correct. And I'll tell you, Olga Hamra, who is our case manager, and Dee and Terry Cox, pastors Dee and Terry Cox, who are our on-site managers, they are teaching them how to fish. And they set goals for them, they encourage them, but they walk alongside with them, and goals need to be met. And that's exactly what they're doing, is they're teaching them how to fish instead of giving them fish.
Now you have, 17 people on site now, did you say?
That's correct.
How do they get along? Do they get along well, or do you see some problems that crop up every now and then?
Well, anytime you move somebody new into the mix, they're unfamiliar with the surroundings, the environment, the people, and so there's some adjustment that needs to be made. But we teach all the residents that are currently here to have compassion, to be loving, and understand that that's where they were when they moved in. So for the most part, people get along pretty well here.
Now, later on in our time together, I'm going to ask that you share with us about individual involvement, because I know a lot of people are looking at this right now and saying, boy, this really speaks to my heart. I'd like to get involved, and we'll give you an opportunity for that. But there's a lot of churches in the local Ventura area that are already involved.
That's correct. We actually have 13 churches that contribute to us financially, anywhere from $250 to $1,000 a month, every single month. And we have another probably dozen churches that come and help out with meals, or come and help out with construction, or whenever there's a need, they may step in and provide. For example, the Mission Church out on the east end of Ventura, down on Johnson Drive, they asked me, what's the need? I said, we need mini refrigerators. They took up a collection, an offering, and they provided us with 6 refrigerators. And so we have partnerships with a lot of churches, and it's really awesome.
Now, do you have a staff member that lives on the property to kind of oversee what's going on?
Yeah, that would be Pastors Dee and Terry Cox. They're our on-site managers, and they are a phenomenal couple. They not only love the Lord, but they love people, and they want to see people win. So they're here 24/7, and between them and Olga, they have a pretty good handle on what's going on around here.
Wonderful. We're going to take a time out. When we come back, we're going to talk to the board president for the City Center and find out his take. We'll do that in just a moment. You're watching News Junkies on the Heritage Media Group. And welcome back to News Junkies. We're here at the City Center, and I'm joined right now by their board president, Tom Nelson. Tom, welcome in here.
Thanks, Bill.
Tom, tell us, how did you get involved with the City Center?
Well, I knew we had a problem with the homeless, but I didn't know exactly how I could do something about that, and kind of felt an internal urging to do something about that. And I got a call from a friend and says, "Hey, we're going to be doing something with a City Center." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And so they explained it to me, and so in the process of that is, I'll tell you what, I'll help you raise a few bucks, do a couple of golf tournaments or something like that. Went through a process, and the next thing they came back and asked me, said, "Why don't you lead this thing?" So that's how I got into the position.
So it's been a journey for you as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
What has been the most significant changes that you have seen here at the City Center?
I think the groundswell of support that's starting to emerge. I think from city officials to the community at large to the businesses that are here, and just watching people, and they have a concern for it, but everyone's kind of like, well, what do you do about this? What do you do about this situation? So,
And with those city officials, how do they respond to a project like this? Are they looking to utilize this as perhaps a role model for other developments to help address and expand the need of the homeless community?
yes, the vision of a homeless situation is there's a lot of people out there that are on the fringes and trying to figure out how to make it in this society, and it's a very tough environment when you don't have the skills to compete basically with what's out there. So in the process of that, you come across people who have pretty good hearts but don't know kind of how to put the thing together. And then they come along with a guy like Jim Duran and his willingness and expertise in how to deal with people. It's been pretty amazing.
It is amazing, and you're about ready to expand the project here. You've just come into a few dollars to help
Yeah.
build the rest of the facility out.
Yeah. Well, once we get this built out, and then there's one other section over here to build out, I think we could probably handle 100 people. And given the style and what we attempt to do with people and try to get them to be self-sufficient and to be a contributor to the society, I think we got a pretty good program here, and so it's enjoyable being part of it.
Do you have any kind of a sense as to the success rate of those participants that have gone through the entire program?
Well, being City Center used to be Kingdom Center, and so in the process of the transfer in terms of what we're doing, so we've really been at it a little over a year, and I think we're in the high 90%. So I think it's basically a connection with the people that are here and the ability to say, all right, here are some responsibilities, here's things that you need to do, and in that process and accepting that responsibility, I think has been pretty significant.
And the people, I would imagine, are very receptive to be given those tools to become more of a success in their lives, because they probably haven't been taught those or have learned those skills throughout their lifetime.
Almost extensively, you will listen to people and they'll make a decision and it doesn't turn out too well for them in terms of the fashion, but the whole program is based, and I wasn't quite aware of the fact that when you put somebody in a shelter, what it does for their confidence in terms of the thing that was so amazing to me is how safe it was, how much safety was such a critical factor of this homeless issue, and our facility provides safety, so I think it's one of the key components of our task.
Well, I know if you're living out on the streets and underneath a freeway bridge, that safety, you are keeping one eye open as you're asleep.
Yeah, and also it's they develop a hardness about themselves because they have to, because if they don't, they're not going to survive out there in that jungle, and so this gives them an opportunity to kind of come back to a central place and kind of put the pieces together and launch themselves out.
And with that component, you have people that, are able then to take a daily shower and get cleaned up, and they don't have that luxury living out on the streets.
That's correct. I'm just amazed at what a roof does for people. Just amazed. So that's why we want to build this thing out. Essentially get more roofs for more people and get them in here and help in that process. And at the same time, don't become dependent, but let's move out.
Not become dependent, but become independent.
Correct.
That's a good way to leave it. We thank you very much. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to be talking to a couple of the residents that actually live here at the City Center and one of the staff members as well. And we'll do that coming up. Stay with us right here on News Junkies on the Heritage Media Group. And welcome back in here to News Junkies. I'm Bill DeFoi. Joining us right now here at the City Center is Olga, and she is one of the people that actually resides here at the facility. Olga, welcome in here.
Thank you.
You have a very interesting story. Why don't you share your experience and how you became involved with the City Center?
Well, a month from today, I will be celebrating 10 years clean and sober. And this used to be one of the places where I would come in when I was out in my addiction. So this has taken a tenfold, I would say, for me to come back and, by the grace of God, be the case manager at City Center. I have the opportunity to sow into the women's and men's life what so freely was given to me 10 years ago, and it's been a blessing. I used for many years, and it took me a while to get back on my feet, and I was able to go back to school. I graduated from Oxnard College as a drug and alcohol counselor, and I came to City Center about a year and a half ago, and I've been here since then. I've been able to, I don't know, it was a calling. God said, I had many opportunities prior to that to other jobs, but this is what the Lord wanted me to be, and I've been here. I get to do case management with the clients. I get to help them rebuild their lives. I see them come in when they're broken and helpless and not having nothing at all. And 6 months into the program, their lives, the light shines, and their eyes are getting brighter, and they start doing so much better. And it's just amazing to see the transformation that in their lives.
Isn't it interesting, Olga, that 10 years ago, you hung out here, you were addicted and were using, and here you are 10 years later, clean, sober, and living life to its fullest. What an interesting contrast.
Especially when one of my places hangouts was the City Center Motel then, which is now our City Center Transitional Living. Yes.
Yeah. And so now you work with other individuals that are here in the facility to work with their perhaps past addictions?
Yes, we do. I encourage all my clients that had come from, a background of addiction to go to meetings, to go to 12-step meetings, or do, celebrate recovery, anything that has to do with addiction, to get them to, to build our foundation. It's really important to build a foundation and get strong, because otherwise anything, sometimes can just take you back. Just a little slips, a day doesn't go well, you always think back of going back. It's been a while since I thought maybe I could just have one beer today, but I know that in some of my clients, sometimes that crosses their mind.
If you go for that one beer, wouldn't that then lead to a second, a third, a fourth, and who knows what from that point forward?
Yeah, one beer wouldn't be nothing. One beer would be a case of beer, and then it'll be the bottle of vodka, and then I'll be calling the connection just to go back to the cycle. And it's a cycle. For me, it will be a cycle again, and I can't afford to do that.
At what point in your life, Olga, did you realize I've got to break that cycle and get out of that kind of a lifestyle?
It took me to go back to jail way too many times, and the only thing that always scared me is that I never wanted to go to prison. And I was threatened by the judge. He told me, next time I see you in my courtroom, I will send you to prison. And I thought, well, I guess I'm done. And it took me 6 months after that to really be able to put it down. I wound up going to work for law, going to Bible study with the same lady that I had been seeing for about 10 years every Friday night. And she encouraged me every Friday night to, have faith, surrender. And at that time I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I have lost everything else in my life. And the only thing I didn't lose then was my son, because he was with friends. But he was raised through all my addiction with me. And that little boy is 30 years old right now and turned out to be a Marine. He's been in the Marine Corps for 12 years and is an amazing father of 2 children and is on deployment right now in Honduras, serving his country.
You can tell that this has really impacted your life, and for the good.
Yes, and I'm proud of the person I have become because I'm able to give back to others what is been given to me, and I'm honored to be a part of the city center.
And likewise, Olga, we're proud of you as well. You've made tremendous progress. Your story is very touching, and I wish you nothing but God's best as you move forward.
Thank you.
And you're a delight to have with us.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take another time out. We've got more coming up from the City Center right here on News Junkies, a production of the Heritage Media Group. And welcome back in here to News Junkies. I'm Bill DeFoi. Joining me right now is Kristen, and Kristen is one of the residents here at the City Center. And we're going to talk about her story and how she got from point A to here, point B. Kristen, welcome in here. And tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up here in Ventura County, and I've lived here all my life. I recently.
Well, you've been here a year and a half. What were some of the circumstances leading up to you coming to the City Center?
Well, I was renting a room from a friend, and he was going to move into a bigger place, and he was going to take me and my 2 kids at the time. And then he decided to just move with his girlfriend and told me I was going to be able to go with him. So I had 30 days to find a place to live, and I was on aid from the county. So it was almost impossible to find a room to rent. And I had no car at the time, and it was just me and them. And so I ended up not finding a room and became homeless. Then I went and looked for all these different places. I checked the Salvation Army, all these different, the RAIN project, and then I came across the City Center. And I was actually very blessed to get in the City Center within 2 weeks after applying. And shortly after I came to the City Center, I found out I was pregnant with my 3rd child. And then I re-enrolled in school. So I was able to go back to college to finish my degree for to become a dental assistant. And since being here, I've graduated, and I just got a job with like in a week and a half after I've graduated. So that was in June of this year. And I also got my license back. I got a car, and everything's coming together.
So life has kind of come around full circle for you.
Yeah, it's done a 360, that's for sure.
And how old are your kids?
One is 6, the other one is 2, just turned 2, and then I have an 8-month-old baby.
So, and they're here on the facility with you?
Yes.
And what do they think of the living arrangements?
They love it here, honestly, because it's gated, so the kids feel safe. They're able to just kind of run and be free, and we have the playground here, so, and all the staff are like family to us, so it's really been nice. I like it.
So you've been here a year and a half. What are some of the things that you have learned outside of having the job and getting the training for that? But what are some of the life skills? That would probably be a better way of framing the question for you. Life skills that you have learned while being here at the City Center.
Well, they've kind of reintroduced me to God. You know, we go to church every week, and so it's been really a blessing to be able to take my kids into the church and have them kind of grow up in that environment. My son loves going to church every week, and they've helped me as far as parenting, you know, things to say. My son has so many questions now that he's 6, you know, about girls, all these different things, and he's so young, and so it's hard to know what to say to them sometimes. And they've kind of guided me through all that, and just how to raise 3 kids on my own, so they've helped out here a lot with a bunch of different things.
Well, that's wonderful. And so you're able now to have a full-time job. By the sounds of it, you probably have a vehicle now.
I do. I ended up buying a Chevy Tahoe. It's a little bit older, but it's great. It's got low miles and everything, and I ended up getting my license back while I was here as well. This place has given me the time to kind of rebuild everything,
And it's, like you say, a time to rebuild and get those foundational things
Right.
back into focus that perhaps got out of focus prior to you coming here.
Right. I lost my car, my job. I didn't have the money to upkeep with any of it, so I ended up losing it all. Now being here, I've been able to focus just on what I need to have, the essentials and the foundation, like you said, so that I can rebuild and be able to support them on my own. And it's given me the time to do that here.
So there's a lot of hope for you in the future.
Oh yeah, I got a great job right now, making $15 an hour in Thousand Oaks, and I got full benefits and with free dental.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, so everything's good, looking good. I'm looking like I'm gonna be able to support my family on my own.
I often tell people before we sit down that, I don't have any real teeth. I'll just gum them to death. I do have my real teeth, but that's another story. Anyway, listen, Kristen, it has been so good to have you with us. And I wish nothing for you but the absolute best as you move forward.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Nice to
Kristen,
meet you.
thank you so much.
for having
We're
me.
going to continue on and put a wraps to this in just a moment on News Junkies, a production of the Heritage Media Group. And we've got Jennifer with us right now at the City Center, and she is one of the residents here. Jennifer, welcome in here.
Thank you.
Tell us about your journey to get from where you were to where you are now.
Well, it's a long journey. I've been here a year and a half. Being here is such a blessing. I just graduated dental assisting school, and I'm looking for a full-time employment.
I got this molar in the back, but that's another story.
That's what everyone says. They're always like, every time I tell them about dental assisting school, they're like, are you looking at my teeth? It's like, no, I'm not looking at your teeth.
So you were obviously homeless to get you
Yes.
to this point.
Yes.
What got you into that position of being homeless, if I may ask?
I had a drug problem, and I was homeless, and my mom kicked me out. I was on the streets for about a year, and then I got pregnant, and I found myself pregnant in an abusive relationship and homeless. And I actually turned to the Tender Life, which is the house right next door, and I was there for most of my pregnancy, and then I transitioned over to here.
So what was the tipping point for you to say, I need to get off the drugs and get some help?
Well, I was already borderline. I have 2 older children who live with my mom, and being separated from them really was hard for me. So I was already on the borderline of getting help, but then I got pregnant, and that was it for me. As somebody else, I gotta, somebody has something growing inside of me. I can't.
You don't want to take the risk.
No. So she saved my life. I mean, I really think she did.
And how old is your child now?
She's 20 months.
20 months. Almost a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are some of the life skills that you have developed? Obviously, you got a great career as a dental hygienist. So what are some of the other life skills that you have learned while being here?
I've learned, budgeting about, money, because, I didn't have any skills when it came to that. Savings, we have to save money, and that's a good thing. That's one thing that scares me is when I leave here, I'm not going to have someone, you have to put that in your savings account, and just accepting everyone for who they are, and learning just to live in a community together. We all have to live together.
Have you learned to love yourself again?
Oh yeah, I've forgiven myself, and I've made amends with everyone in my family, come clean about everything. And, you know, a lot of people didn't know that I had a drug problem. I don't know if that's good or bad, but, you know, so I've totally come clean and made amends with everyone and myself.
Do you feel like then in that asking for forgiveness and confronting them that maybe a weight has been lifted off your shoulder?
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
Sense of freedom.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have nothing to hide now. You know, everything is out in the open.
And you feel better about yourself, you're living cleaner, you're doing things that
Yeah.
are going to benefit Jennifer.
Yeah, and my kids. And then I'll be here at the end of the year. I'll be here almost 2 years, and because this is a year program. But if you're doing good and you're following the rules and you're meeting your requirements, they put you on a month-to-month basis. So you know, by the end of the year, I'll have enough money saved, and I'll have hopefully a good job, and the whole point is to get reunited with my other 2 kids. You know, to live with me full time, and that's my goal. So I'm pretty close to reaching that.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
as your mom takes a look at what you have been through, and do you find that she is supporting you in this effort?
Oh yes, she's so proud of me. She's so proud of me.
So that's probably a 180 from what it was from before.
Yeah, yeah. From 3 years ago, my life is completely so different, and I'm different. You know, so.
Well, that's good. Well, Jennifer, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and I look to see nothing but good things happen for you as you move forward. You've got such a radiant smile.
Oh, thanks.
And you can just see the happiness. So we're going to continue on here from the City Center. I'm Bill DeFoi with the Heritage Media Group. Well, we've come to the end of our visit here at the City Center, and I'm back with Pastor Jim Duran from the River Community Church, also the president of the City Center. Jim, this has just been a phenomenal experience. We have visited with you and Tom Nelson, the board president, and Olga and a couple of the other gals that actually live here on the compound. It's a great facility, and you're doing a great work.
Thank you, Bill. We couldn't have done it without the support of the community. We couldn't have done it without our board of directors. We have a working board of directors. There's 13 of us now, and I'll tell you, they get their hands dirty. They work hard, and we couldn't have done it without the support of our staff. And we just appreciate the community and our city to partner alongside of us to make this work.
And I know that we're in one of the rooms that is under redevelopment right now. And when do you plan to have this project completed?
Well, there was a wonderful day on July the 22nd when our plans finally got approved by the city that says that we can complete this back section. And so our hopes and our goal is within the next 8 weeks, by the end of September, all of these 8 rooms will be completely finished, and we'll be able to have a ribbon cutting and move in our new families.
One of the things that helped to expedite this process is you were a participant in the Salsa Festival over in the city of Oxnard. You walked away with the People's Choice Award, so congratulations to you, and you were able to raise almost to the dollar what you're going to need to finish building this out, but the support is ongoing.
That's correct. You know, even though we raised $33,500 to complete the construction of these rooms, we still have ongoing needs, and that is the case management, the marriage and family therapist, all of the programs that we have. All of that costs money, not to mention just the basic utilities, water, gas, and all of those things. It costs us roughly about $1,000 a month to house a family here. So you figure that's a nut to crack, a big one. And so the ongoing support is something that we ask people to help us with. One of the things that we have is called the Andrew Project. And the Andrew Project is a $19 a month donation. If we could get 1,000 people to commit to $19 a month, we are self-sufficient, we're in great shape, and everybody gives a little bit, and we can continue to produce and successful families to be self-sufficient out of this program.
Well, I know, Pastor, that you are a pastor of the River Community Church, and I'm sure that in the course of a year, you're out there reaching out to people who attend River Community. to help give and support the ongoing ministry of the church. And at church, you would look out into the congregation and make an appeal. I'm going to ask that you do that right now. Look into our camera and give us the website, phone number where people can come alongside, be a partner in the Andrew Project and the City Center.
Well, thank you, Bill. I want you to know that your support is so valuable to us because we have families right now that need you to be able to graduate from this program. The Andrew Project is a $19 a month program, but if you belong to a congregation and they're not part of our program, please encourage them to come and help us, support us. We have 13 churches right now that give on a monthly basis $250 a month to $1,000 a month, and we could sure use your church to come alongside to help these families move into self-sufficiency. You can go to our website, which is thecitycenter.org, and it will explain our programs, it will explain how to give, it will even have a link for the Andrew Project, and you can call us at 805-302-7711, and we can answer any questions that you may have. Your support financially as well as volunteer support would be greatly appreciated.
Well, you know, a lot of churches get involved in mission projects around the world, but there's a mission project right here in our own backyard with the City Center.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the greatest mission projects I've been involved with.
Excellent. Jim, thank you so much. I look forward to nothing but great things for you as we move forward. And what a delight to come out onto the property of the City Center and see for ourselves what's taking place.
Thank you so much, Bill.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and hope that you'll join us again next time for another edition of News Junkies, a production of the Heritage Media Group.